Good morning, everyone. So my wife, Rachel, and I, we met at Union, and I graduated from Union with IRR 11 years ago. We've been in Sierra Leone for 4 years now, and there's where Sierra Leone is. We come and present every year at church, so just kind of briefly go through things here. So Sierra Leone's right there on the coast. Our hospital is what you see there with all those blue roofs. We're on the only paved highway in the country, so it's pretty prime real estate. Sierra Leone is both a beautiful place as well as an impoverished place. When we went to Sierra Leone, that's how Liam looked, and when we came back, that's Liam now with his own seatbelt. We came back because Jude was born, and we're headed back next month. Sierra Leone, although people often think about Africa being a rural place, it can be urban. We live in kind of the suburbs of the capital. There are beautiful, beautiful people in Sierra Leone. The population is majority Muslim. The bigger the city, the higher predominance of Christians you get. So where we are, it's probably about half and half, but you get out into the villages and it's roughly 70% Muslim. Here are some kids from the village posing very nicely. They'd never seen like a real DSLR camera before. We see funny things in Sierra Leone. Motorcycles are very, very important, and you spend a lot of time on them sometimes, and so you transport them in the trunk or you make them extra comfortable with a luxury seat. It's very nice. Schools and things are common. Kids have fun everywhere. Aspiring artists are everywhere. I don't think Disney is coming after them for any copyright infringement on Mickey Mouse because it's almost unrecognizable. Here we are at home. Liam's bathtub is a bucket, and if we're having a good day, then we bath outside. We've got a couple of security who help us open the gate and just kind of are around the compound when we're not there. So Jabril on the left, he's our day security, and Usman on the right is our night security. Both really loving Muslim guys, and they are part security and part babysitter. If we're ever tired of Liam, we're like, oh, go outside and play, and security will take care of them. So Liam has moved from babysitter to now what they call nursery, like preschool, and he is the only white kid and a little bit of a teacher's pet because there are like 60 kids to 3 or 4 teachers. We work in a hospital. The hospital is about 40 beds, and we've got an outpatient clinic, and I work basically full-time there. Rachel is a PA. She works part-time there. We've been there 4 years now, so we're starting to get comfortable, starting to speak the language. And it's really a blessing to be in Sierra Leone. I tell people that Sierra Leone, it puts a magnifying glass on the normal human experiences that we all have. It's just magnified. The highs are higher, the lows are lower. It's just kind of continually good things and bad things, like happens anywhere. It just seems more intense in Sierra Leone. Here's a picture from our neighborhood. We live kind of in a normal neighborhood, and it's only 1% of the population that have running water. So in the distance of that picture, you can see people washing clothes. In the midground, you see people bathing. In the foreground, those are crops. Water is life, and so even a tiny little stream like that will attract everyone. Rainy season comes and goes, and sometimes you're caught unawares in that very same stream. So that motorcycle is being washed and then abandoned for the rain. Here's where we eat at the hospital. On the left, you see the 3 stones method is what they call it. You push together 3 rocks, and then you put sticks under those 3 rocks, and it cooks the pot. We have electricity so intermittently that on the right, you can see a microwave has become a safe. So that's where the woman who runs the canteen keeps her money, is in the microwave. School happens everywhere. Here's a school from the village. They are still working to complete this school, dirt floors. There's only one book per classroom, and the teacher gets that, and it's taught by call and response. The teacher will say something, the children will repeat back. If you don't go to school, then it's very common to see people crushing gravel with a hammer, and that's their livelihood, unfortunately. We have had a very full year, full of emotional things, both good and bad. Multiple weddings. On the left is a mid-level provider at the hospital. He got married. On the right are some of our friends. She's from the UK, came to volunteer and teach at a school and fell in love with a Sierra Leonean guy. So we've been to several weddings this year. We've also been to several funerals this year. Sierra Leone is hard, and on the left is a funeral for a doctor who came, and he was unmarried and just kind of came by himself, and he died of a heart attack at like 50 in his hotel room. On the right is a close friend of ours. She went home just normally on vacation, and the next thing we heard, oh, she had stage 4 cancer and died, and she never got to say goodbye to her husband or stepson that she left in Sierra Leone. They couldn't get visas. But even though life is hard, we have a good group of people. There are lots of other missionaries in Sierra Leone. We're the only Adventists in Sierra Leone, but there are lots of other missionaries. On the right are all the kids dressed up for Halloween, where they don't go trick-or-treating outside the compound. The parents will be in the bathroom, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, go from door to door within that same house and just knock on those doors and, oh, it's your parent there and here's some candy. It's a very fun time. Here's our commute. We've got a dirt road that we walk on. Rainy season, dry season, we're there. Liam's getting dropped off at daycare on the right. The hospital employs about 60 staff. 60 staff is everybody, and we run 24/7, 365. So janitors, accountants, nurses, lab, pharmacy, doctors, everybody, gardeners, 60. So it's a pretty lean crew, and we all know each other pretty well, and you can get under each other's skin. The hospital, I really like this painting of blue-eyed Jesus here. That's immediately as you come into the hospital. We've got really nice gardens in the hospital, so the environment is nice. It's very common in Africa for family members to be the ones to take care of their patients, and so when children are sick, this is the pediatric ward, the parents sleep on the floor because there's no bed for family members. We see a lot of sick kids, a lot of malaria. We do a lot of blood transfusions, and you can always afford to look good. You got that pink skirt there. People are always dressed so brightly. We run on paper charts. We're practicing medicine from the 1960s, probably. We're using medicines for asthma that were abandoned in America long, long ago because it's the best we have. Education has been one of the things I've really focused on because that's the easiest thing for me to leave behind is knowledge. So on the left, you can see the other woman there is a medical student from Loma Linda. She came and was teaching us how to ultrasound the heart so we could learn about heart failure. We received a donation in the past year to buy us an x-ray machine, which is the first x-ray machine for like hundreds of miles outside of the capital. Even if you head towards the capital, it's like a 45-minute drive. And so even the providers, they don't know about x-rays because their patients aren't rich enough to have x-rays, and so why would you teach something that the patients can't afford anyways? So now that there's an affordable x-ray, we're having to start from the ground up and teach people, how do you read an x-ray? What do you see there? It's all very exciting. Sickle cell is a terrible disease that can be managed here in the U.S. with daily medication and lab monitoring, and in the last year we got our sickle cell clinic up and running, so we're really excited about that. It is difficult because it's a daily medication, and it's hard to, when people are so impoverished, they spend more time thinking about where's their next meal coming from and not, should I buy medicine for tomorrow? It's, can I feed my children tonight? This baby had a midshaft femur fracture. You don't really have to be a radiologist to see that. And at the time, we had volunteer, and she's just a college student. She doesn't really know that much about medicine, but we're running around so much that we didn't have time to manage the case. And so we got some advice from a pediatric orthopedic surgeon that they make these things called Pavlik harnesses, where you can hold the leg in a certain position and the femur will heal much better. And so on the left, you can see that the college student worked with the local tailor that just used local fabric to make a Pavlik harness. And even though she didn't have any medical training, she got to run that case, and the baby turned out great. And she had time to focus on that case, and so it's really good. It's easy to focus on bad things. It's like our brains are somehow trained to remember negative things, and it's always important to remember the wins that you have. This child was completely unconscious for almost a week, like blood draws, nothing. You could stick, poke, prod, just completely unconscious. And the father was like, I can't afford this, please let me just take my child home to die. And we're like, no, please, just 1-2 more days in the hospital. And in that time, God blessed us, and the child woke up and was perfectly normal. And it's always amazing to see God work when both the parents and the doctors are feeling hopeless. So if you're a little bit squeamish, there's some gross stuff here, not a ton of blood. So close your eyes if you don't want it. This guy came in with acute appendicitis, and so he needed emergency surgery. So we operated him and got his appendix out, but he had TB. And TB makes you cough, 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 cough. And so he bust open his stitches in his abdomen, and he had his intestines hanging out for like 4 months. I didn't think he was going to get better, and his family couldn't afford to be in the hospital. They've got to be out working. They can't afford to feed him. They can't afford to pay his medicines, and so they just kind of left him there. And so my staff, who get poverty wages, are feeding and taking care of this guy. And again, God does things that I don't know should be possible, and he healed up after about a year. Aside from being a doctor, I'm now the acting medical director. We don't have a business manager, so unfortunately a lot of my time is sitting in meetings. Here's us in a meeting in the day. Here's us in a meeting at night. It's a lot of work running a hospital. Our surgeon, Dr. Kaba, he finished his term of contract, and he has been away from his children for 6 years now. He spent his first Christmas with his children this past Christmas, because he has committed so much to his country. So his going away gift, they made him this poster, and it's very Sierra Leonean to have Dr. Kaba towering above, because he's our beloved leader. So for now, I'm the only doctor at the hospital. Here's us renovating that x-ray room that I was talking about. That tiny little piece of glass is like $800 because it blocks the radiation from going through, but you can still see through it. So there's absolutely no way we could have any of this stuff without financial support from abroad, and I'm just thrilled about it, obviously. Here's our first patient that we x-rayed is the next slide. Oh, nope. So it's an exciting thing. In the foreground with the gray hair, that's the conference president. Like, church leaders from all over the country came to dedicate this machine because it's just such a huge step forward for the hospital. There's our first patient. We were deciding if she needed surgery or not, and thankfully she didn't need surgery, but we only knew because of the x-ray. Other interesting traditions. A fundraiser for the church is come buy these little ribbons up in the front, and then if you want to support a child, you pin them to the child, and so it helps raise money for schools and those kind of things. And our toddler walked around with straight pins, no caps, no safeties, no nothing, and that's, children are expected to take care of themselves. So here's church, hot and sweaty, but oh so wonderful to have an Adventist community worldwide. It seems like no matter where you go, Adventists are the same kind of people. And whether you do foot washing in a church or you do foot washing in a gutter, it's wonderful to see the body of Christ just kind of wrapped around the whole world. Something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, I'm going to steal a little bit from a sermon that I heard Ben Schnell preach, which is about seasons. Sierra Leone, we've got dry season here. The next slide is rainy season, and they are just like polar opposites. And there are emotional seasons as well. And for us this year in Sierra Leone, we have had some really high highs. We have been to more funerals this year than we have in a long, long time. And unlike seasons externally, people's internal seasons you can't really see. And it's important to think about the people around you because they might not be showing it on the outside. And so the last note I'd like to end on is here's a bunch of people waiting for medical care. They know they have physical needs, and their spiritual needs can't be met until their physical needs are met. And they are coming for hope of a physical cure, and we hope to give them an eternal hope that is long-lasting. And so there's some of the ways you can find us. Mom and Dad are here if you ever need us. And we're headed back next month. We've got another year in our contract, and then we'll decide how much longer we want to stay or if we want to come back and do more training. So it's always nice to know we've got a place to come home to. When the days are hard, I think, well, there are lots and lots of people praying for me. Even though they don't know specifically what to pray for, like, people are praying for us. So we really appreciate all your support, and it's fun seeing you guys every year. All right, thanks.